characterize it as recurring efforts under several directors to deal with a problem that was well known in a capacity everyone agreed we needed to have, but they were separate efforts. And so I was puzzled by why the urgency, why the excitement. So yeah, I think the agency has done a report. I went in, I called and said, hey, let me come in and tell you what I know. I think the other directors involved went in, several other DOs went in and talked. I think the report up there is a very balanced product, and I think when read carefully, will return a certain calm to the discussion that seems to have been absent to date.
Can I follow up, sir? Have you had any discussions with Director Panetta regarding this program? And if so, could you share?
I'm not going to answer that.
Exercising the prerogative of the chair, I have my own question for Secretary Chertoff. What operation at DHS is most dependent on contractors, and to what extent do you use contractors in worksite enforcement, company audits, and company raids?
It's hard. You know, I've been out long enough that I can plead memory lapse in terms of what is most significant in terms of contractors. I'd say probably, though, if I had to guess, it is in the management and the detention process. I mean, most of the people who are detained as immigration violators wind up in detention facilities that are operated by private contractors, and that's for a couple of reasons. First of all, the time lag in the process of building a federal facility is very lengthy. But more to the point, the location and the flow of people who are going to be detained is going to vary depending on a whole host of circumstances. It would be foolish to invest in building a detention facility, let's say, in western Arizona, and then the flow stops there and we wind up seeing a greater flow in southeastern United States. And so you're going to have an empty set of beds sitting in western Arizona and a lot of people you have to house in the eastern U.S. So I would venture to say that's probably an area in which, in terms of dollars, there's a lot of contracting dollars. I don't know if it's people as much as dollars. But I think in general, you'll find contractors in various levels in various places in the agency. I believe that's declined over a period of time as the agency has matured, and particularly there was an emphasis that we put on trying to get some more people to do acquisition, career people to get involved in the acquisition process. Here's where Congress sometimes trips over itself. They complain about the fact that in terms of people who perform the acquisition function and the managerial function, that we're using too many contractors. We go, okay, that makes sense. We want to increase the budget so we can hire more people in-house to learn and manage acquisition. And then Congress says, no, we're angry, so we're going to cut the budget for management. So wait a second. You want me to do more management with people in-house, but then you cut my budget for hiring those people. And that's why you wind up going to contractors. So I think this is an area where, and the administration, I think, had asked in the budget for a very significant plus-up on management, which I thought was a very good idea, and it got rather significantly cut by Congress. So if you do want to insource more things, you've got to be willing to pay for it, and that means recognizing the tail on the payment. Once you hire an employee, the fact that the workflow has changed or stopped doesn't mean you get to fire that employee in the federal system. So, you have to cost in the tail for having that person in place maybe 20 years or more. And I think it's that budget issue which tends to be not a very glamorous but a very real factor in terms of determining what is contractor versus what is internal.
Secretary Chertoff, Tim Starks from Congressional Quarterly. Hi.
From who?
Tim Starks from Congressional Quarterly, right.
Well, I thought I was going to get out of here with no questions. It was going to be,
The Senate Intelligence Committee's report on their authorization bill very specifically takes DHS's intelligence wing to task for its specific reliance on contractors. It says that everybody's trying to reduce the use of contractors, but for some reason DHS just has a much higher percentage than most intelligence operations and isn't doing a very good job of cutting back on them. Could you explain why it is, if that's true, that it does have that higher rate? Could you explain why it is that the intelligence shop at DHS is in that specific
I
situation?
think probably for two reasons. I can't validate that, but I mean, I'm not going to dispute it either. One is